Good morning. Welcome to 4x8 Paper Stuff. This is Beth. We are in a creative mixed media art journal, a traveler's notebook size, following the words and wisdom of Mark Twain in his book, Following the Equator. Sit down, enjoy, and let's see where we go. Much to my dismay, I have combined four chapters for today's video. He is heading towards Calcutta. He headed towards Calcutta, which is now called Kolkata with a K instead of a C. And then he immediately got on a train. He's skimming. He must be dealing with a broken leg too, because he's skimming rapidly compared to how he described things in the beginning of this book. So I'm a little bit better emotionally about flying through the end, because he is too, actually. But he talks about, in these four chapters, he talks about going up and down the Himalayas and how much of a trip it was. And I mean, I've seen modern day trains, those to Darjeeling. Is that how you say that? And how you're up in the clouds and the train track is, this far from the edge of a gigantic cliff, and you're in the Himalayas, or the beginnings of the Himalayas, and the steep climb. And imagine it in 1896-ish, when you didn't have a train, as some of the trains look like they still could be from 1896 that you see today. But he was in hand cars. He called it a coffin where people carried him. And the purpose of this whole trip was a speaking tour for him. So he was bankrupt a couple different times, or close to it, a couple different times in his life. And right before this book was one of them. I have paint underneath my fingernails. So he went on this trip to earn some money. And it doesn't mention where his wife and daughter were during this trip into the mountains, if they were with him or not. But he's speaking, all along different places in this tour. So he is talking about these mountains and how majestic they are, and how he really, really loved this part of the trip. It was much cooler, obviously. And so these kind of chapters are all kind of meshing together. Ugh, I can't talk. All that to say, these chapters are meshing together. He didn't talk anything about Calcutta. It was just reflecting on the people, some historical things that happened there that were all revolved around war. There's a lot of talk in this book about servants and class systems, and a lot of that. And there's a lot of that right now again. So these chapters would have been hard for me to do one at a time. So I'm okay with skipping through these rapidly. Number one, he is. Number two, most of the topic is stuff that I don't want to focus on. So I picked out the main events, the main gist of the next four chapters. Winter in Calcutta. He went on a tiger hunt. I really don't want to talk about killing tigers. He's in the mountains. It's February 14th. He's up in the clouds to Darjeeling. Came across a banyan tree, which he loved, in the Himalayas, in a hand car. And then chapter 57, so we'll have four chapters here. Chapter 57 talked about a lot of death in India from wild animals, whether it's tigers, elephants, snakes, wolves. That was the whole chapter about the statistics of all that. So while I'm right here, I'm going to write all this down. And I don't know how I'm going to fit that in here, but let's just say we're going to try. So we did 54, 55, 56, and 57. on day 47. And that will be on 9/25. Okay, so let's see. Calcutta, tigers, Darjeeling. I don't know if I've ever had Darjeeling tea. Himalayas, and wild animals. Okay. I have no idea how I'm going to do this at all. I might have to stop for a minute and think. All right, I have 6 days, but I have a lot of spreads, so I'm wondering. Let's do this like this, dot, dot, dot. So I think I'm going to do a Diane Reevely trick. Let's cut out a hole here. Yeah, let's do that. I don't think I've ever, have I done this? It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be organic-ish. I might glue 2 pages together. Give it a little strength. When she does this, her book paper is mixed media style paper, so it's thicker. Maybe we could have this look like, ooh, I just got an idea. What if we could have this look like the train car window and him looking out on the Himalayas? Or maybe. Let's see here. Not exactly very pretty cutting here. I can live with that. You know, she does this a lot in her videos. She'll split it to the middle more, so it's a little flatter. Why can't we? She manhandles her journals. All right, let's see. I'm getting tired here, people. All right. So yes, I am getting tired. So I decided to stop talking and allow this to be a voiceover and edit me in later. I had a big day yesterday going out, and tomorrow I have a big day, so I'm trying to behave in quotes today. So I decided to get one of my jelly plates that have been painted on, not jelly plates, deli paper that I had painted on, and add some green to represent the tea, the Darjeeling area and all the trees that he passes on these train trips. And I grabbed one here that had blue and white and copper and put a tiny, tiny little spot of green, which turned out to be a big old blob, and work with that. And just painting deli paper is all I'm doing. But I really, really like this. I know it sounds so simple and so silly, but I really like it. And it just adds color and texture from the deli paper and a background, something different. I was getting a little stale, I thought, in what I was doing. Loving it, but I didn't want them all to look alike. And I wanted them to all kind of mesh together with each different spread meshed together with a tad bit of a theme and a tad bit of difference on each page. I want it all, basically. I want it all, and I want it all right the very first go round, and sometimes it just doesn't work like that. I guess it's a lot like life, right? So anyhow, that's my outlook on world problems right now. I don't know what I'm saying. Ignore all that. Okay, so I've gone back. Now I'm collecting some of that green that I kind of wiped off to let some of the deli paper dry. Going back because it's still moist, and going back and collecting some of it and painting the edge of my window. Still not knowing exactly what I'm going to do at this point, but now I know I have the Darjeeling tea section covered. He talked about the wild animals and things being killed by wild animals. He talked about the banyan tree. He talked about the up in the clouds on the train. He talked about um, a tiger hunt, which I have chosen to leave out, sort of. And I went through the sticker book looking for animals and found a snake because he talked about people being killed by snakes. Found a leaf that I'm going to pretend like it's a Darjeeling Darjeeling tea. Sorry, I can't say that word. Tea leaf, which I'm sure it's not, but I'm going to pretend it is. And I'm just kind of documenting these with picture um, and adding some little lines to the edge, kind of like a frame, just to tie it all together. And as fun as this was, and as much as I love the paper, I don't know if I love the product, but I do know that once the whole book is done, it'll be fine. You look at it individually, I say this all the time, you may not like a certain spread, but when it all shows up in the book together, it works fine, at least in my opinion. And again, I'm just writing bullet points. Calcutta, tiger hunt, Himalayas, up in the clouds, banyan tree, train ride, Darjeeling, and wild animals. And not sure how I'm going to cover that. I wanted to cover Calcutta a different way, the tigers, the banyan tree, the train ride itself. Um, and I didn't know how I was going to do that. I did take another piece of the deli scrap paper and just pen and ink draw pyramids that look like the mountains of the bases of the Himalayas where he's up in there, up in the clouds, and wrote up in the clouds by train. And that's going to go in the window. It fades into the background because it's the same color green and on the same kind of paper. And with the deli paper, the kind of the deli portion of it fades into the abyss of the trees that are in the forest of the Darjeeling tea plantations. I don't know. It's all very abstract. You have to just think like this. So in the snake, I wrote dangerous animals. Along the tea leaf, I wrote Darjeeling. And now I need to figure out the other elements that I want to incorporate in this spread. So I go back to the sticker book. There's nothing there. I ended up making some images on the computer. And I'm okay with them being printed in color because the other stickers were color. And I put a picture of the Howrah Bridge, which is a bridge he talked about also in Calcutta. I put a picture of a banyan tree, and I put a picture of the tree going through the tea plantations. And then the tiger. He went on a tiger hunt. He talked about the tiger killing people and some of the wild animal attacks that he talked about at the end of the chapter. And so I feel like I've incorporated all of these chapters and the elements of all of these chapters into a different kind of spread. And again, it's not one of my favorites, but I do like the difference that it presents in this part of the book. I'm trying to layer the tiger, but that other paper got stuck too easily and too well. So I like how this all came together. It's different. I have extra pages, so I like it. And I'll stick with it for the day. So thanks for watching. See you all tomorrow. Bye.